How to handle family distance without feeling forgotten. There's a certain kind of quiet that comes with getting older. It's not the same quiet you once longed for in a busy house filled with noise, footsteps, phone calls, and voices calling out your name. This quiet is different. It settles in when the kids are grown. The visits come less often and the phone doesn't ring like it used to. It's the quiet that lingers after family has drifted, not out of malice, but out of life, distance, time, and change. And in that quiet, sometimes the hardest thought to face is this one: have they forgotten me? No one prepares you for this chapter. People talk about retirement plans, bucket lists, senior discounts, but no one really talks about the ache that grows when the people you love most begin to feel far away. It's not always physical distance. Sometimes they're across the country. Sometimes they're 10 minutes away but emotionally absent. Either way, it can leave a hollow space where closeness used to live, and still, you try to understand. You tell yourself they're busy. You remind yourself they love you. You try not to take it personally. But when the silence stretches too long, when milestones pass quietly, when holidays feel more like reminders than celebrations, it's hard not to wonder if you've faded into the background of their lives. This video isn't here to blame them, and it's not here to shame you for feeling the way you do. It's here to open up a conversation we need to have, gently, honestly, and with compassion. Because the truth is, family distance happens, and it hurts, but it doesn't mean your story is over. It doesn't mean you're no longer valuable, and it most certainly doesn't mean you're forgotten. You are still here, still breathing, still feeling deeply, still worthy of love, connection, and peace. And maybe, just maybe, this season of distance can become something else. Not empty, not bitter, but full of quiet strength, self-discovery, new forms of closeness, and a deeper kind of joy. So let's talk. Let's talk about how to handle the distance without letting it define you. Let's talk about staying rooted when the people you love feel far away. Because even in this space, there is something sacred left to hold on to. And I promise, it's not nothing. It's everything. Family doesn't disappear, but it does change. And sometimes that change feels like loss. When you're younger, family is constant, sometimes too constant. There are dinners to cook, rides to give, school plays to attend, arguments at the table, and birthdays to remember. You're at the center of it all, the heart of the home, the one who remembers the details, who keeps the traditions alive, who makes sure everyone's okay. But slowly, sometimes suddenly, that rhythm shifts. The kids grow up. They move out, build their own lives, start their own routines. The calls get shorter, the visits less frequent. Holidays become a maybe, not a promise. And before you realize it, family has changed shape. It's still there, but it's no longer wrapped around your daily life the way it used to be, and that can feel like grief. No one tells you that you can grieve people who are still alive, that you can miss your child even when they text you every few days, that you can feel invisible even in the middle of a family photo, that you can sit in a room full of loved ones and still feel like no one really sees you. And yet here you are, facing that shift with a brave, quiet heart, trying not to show how much you wish things could feel the way they used to, trying not to take it personally, trying to tell yourself it's just the way life goes. And it is. But that doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. Accepting the new shape of family doesn't mean you're giving up on closeness. It means you're learning to see love in its changing forms. It means recognizing that a short call still means they care, that a message saying, "thinking of you," is still a thread of connection, that just because they're not leaning on you anymore doesn't mean you're not still holding a space in their heart. It also means letting go of the picture you carried for years, the one where everyone stayed close, checked in often, never drifted. That picture was beautiful, but it was never the full truth. Families bend. They grow in different directions. And sometimes they stretch so far you wonder if you're still part of the frame. You are, even if the edges blur, even if the rhythm is slower now. You are still part of the heartbeat. So let yourself grieve the closeness that once was. You're allowed to miss it, but also open your eyes to what still remains. Love doesn't always arrive in grand gestures. Sometimes, it comes quietly. A small check-in, a holiday card, a silly photo, a shared memory that pops up unexpectedly. Family changes, but the love you gave, the love you still give, that doesn't vanish. It just settles in differently, softer, slower, but no less real. And you're still the heart, even if the family dances around you now instead of in your arms. Loneliness is not just being alone. It's being unseen. It's the quiet ache of having so much love left to give but no one nearby to hand it to. It's knowing your stories by heart and wishing there was someone sitting across from you, eyes soft, saying, "Tell me again." When family becomes distant, by miles, by time, by change, there's a temptation to shrink, to retreat, to close the door a little tighter, lower your voice, stop reaching out. But that instinct, while understandable, is also what makes the loneliness grow louder. You may not be able to change the distance in your family, but you can still choose connection. And sometimes that connection won't come from the places you expected. Sometimes it comes from new faces, unfamiliar places, or conversations you didn't know you needed. There's a neighbor who waves every morning. Wave back, and one day, say hello. There's a community center hosting a group you've never tried. Go once. Just once. There's someone at your place of worship or your local cafe who sits alone too. Start there, even with a smile. Connection isn't always a reunion. It's not always a big emotional moment. Sometimes it starts with helping someone with their groceries, asking someone to join you for a walk, complimenting someone's scarf. Small threads, but threads nonetheless. And enough threads over time become a net strong enough to catch you when the silence feels heavy. You don't need to replace your family. That's not what this is. You're not erasing anyone. You're expanding. You're saying, I still have life in me, I still need others, I still matter, and that's not weakness. That's courage. Some of the most meaningful friendships people build happen later in life, when the roles fall away, and you're just two people showing up with honesty and heart. No performance, no obligation, just presence. And presence is powerful. So let yourself be seen. Let yourself show up somewhere new. The world may seem distant at times, but it is full of people also searching for connection. You might be the one they were hoping to meet. You are not meant to do life alone, even when parts of it feel that way. Open the window, step outside. Let the world surprise you. Love doesn't always come through blood. Sometimes it walks into your life quietly and says, I see you. Let it in. There's a thought that slips into the mind as we get older, a quiet, heavy one. I don't want to be a burden. It creeps in when you hesitate to call your children, thinking they're too busy. It lingers when you write a message but delete it before hitting send. It whispers, they have their own lives now, don't interrupt, don't ask for too much. And so, little by little, you reach out less, not because you don't love them, but because you love them so much, you'd rather feel lonely than risk being an inconvenience. But here's the truth that took me too long to learn. Staying silent doesn't protect your family from discomfort. It only isolates you. And in that isolation, love can't grow. Not theirs, not yours. Reaching out doesn't mean demanding. It doesn't mean asking for more than someone can give. It simply means reminding the people you love that you are still here, that you still care, that you still want to be part of their world even in the small ways. Write the letter, not because they need a response, but because you need to express what's on your heart. Leave the voicemail. Let them hear your voice, your real voice, not just the one they remember. Send the photo, the recipe, the old story they once loved hearing. Text a memory. Say, this reminded me of you, not to make them feel guilty, but to let them feel close. Don't underestimate what a simple I miss you can do. Those words carry a vulnerability that's stronger than silence. They tell the truth without pressure, and truth has a way of softening even the busiest heart. And if they don't respond the way you hoped, let that be about them, not you. You reached out with love, and love, by nature, is never wasted. Sometimes people don't know how much you miss them until you tell them. Sometimes they've forgotten how good it feels to be remembered until you remember them first. Reaching out is not weakness. It's not desperation. It's a reminder. I'm still here. I still care. I still matter. You don't need to carry the silence alone. You were made for connection, not withdrawal. Your love still has a place in this world, and it deserves to be seen, heard, and felt. So reach, gently, often, not with expectation, but with hope. Hope that love, when extended, with grace still knows how to find its way home. There's a moment in life, maybe after 70, maybe after 80, when you look around and realize that the people who once filled every corner of your life are now living their own. Your house might be quiet. Your phone might not ring as often. The mailbox is emptier than it used to be. And in that silence, a question starts to echo. What now? But here's a truth that's more powerful than it first appears. You are not just a parent, a spouse, a sibling, or a friend. You are a whole person, with thoughts, dreams, stories, and a soul that's still very much alive. And sometimes, the journey forward begins by strengthening the one relationship that has been with you since the very beginning, your relationship with yourself. This isn't about isolation. It's about intimacy with your own heart. When the world feels distant, your own company can become a source of surprising comfort. Not because it's all you have, but because it's something you can finally tend to with care, patience, and presence. You begin to notice things again. The way sunlight moves across your kitchen wall, the joy in feeding the birds outside your window, the peace that lives in a familiar chair, a favorite song, the smell of bread in the oven. These little things are not small. They are anchors. You can start to rebuild the bond with yourself in quiet, meaningful ways. Maybe it's creating a morning ritual, tea, a prayer, a few lines in a journal. Maybe it's picking up an old hobby, one you never had time for before. Maybe it's looking in the mirror not to critique, but to truly see yourself and smile. Talk to yourself kindly, not out loud, though that's okay too, but in your thoughts, your inner voice. Replace the tired narrative of, I'm no longer needed, with something more honest. I'm still here, and I still matter. Nurture yourself the way you once nurtured others. Prepare a lovely meal just for you. Write a letter to your younger self or your future self. Light a candle in the evening and sit with your memories not as ghosts but as honored guests. The more you care for yourself, the more whole you begin to feel, and the less power loneliness has over you. You are not the leftover parts of your past. You are a soul still unfolding, a heart still beating, a life still worthy of gentleness, curiosity, and care. So lean in. Get to know yourself again. You might just find that the person you've been waiting for, the one to listen, to comfort, to sit with you when the house is quiet, has been here all along. There's a sharp edge that can start to form when the people we love grow distant. It doesn't show up overnight. It builds slowly, formed from missed calls, forgotten holidays, promises that faded, or just the aching silence of being left out. That edge is called bitterness. And if you're not careful, it can settle deep into the heart. It begins as sadness. But when sadness isn't heard, when it isn't soothed, it hardens. And what once was hurt becomes armor. It says, fine, they don't care, I won't either. It convinces you that love is foolish, that vulnerability is weakness, that the safest place is behind a wall. But here's the truth that cuts through the noise. Bitterness doesn't protect you. It isolates you. And love? Love is still the better choice, even when it hurts, even when it's quiet, even when it has to stretch across years and miles and misunderstandings. Love doesn't always mean closeness. Sometimes Love means letting go with grace. It means loving someone even if they've grown distant. It means loving them without needing them to love you back in the way you hoped. Letting go of bitterness doesn't mean pretending nothing hurt. It means choosing not to. Let pain define who you are. You can acknowledge the disappointment, the loneliness, even the anger, without letting it poison the beauty that still lives in your heart. Forgiveness isn't just something you give to others. It's something you give to yourself. It's the decision to stop carrying weight that doesn't serve you anymore. The stories that say you weren't important, that you were forgotten, that you are somehow less than because someone didn't show up. You are not less than. You are not invisible. You are not unloved, and the love you carry, the love you gave, the love you still give is not lost. It echoes. It lives in the people you've touched, in the kindness you've shown, in the patience, the meals, the quiet support, the laughter, the tears. That kind of love never disappears, even if it changes shape. So let the bitterness go, not because they deserve it, but because you do. Let your heart soften. Let it stay open. Not for them, but for you. Because when you hold on to love, even when it's hard, you hold on to the best part of yourself. And that's something no one, not time, not distance, not silence, can take away from you. Distance can feel like a wound you're not allowed to talk about. It doesn't bleed, but it aches. It sits quietly in the background while you smile, nod, say you're fine. And maybe you are fine, but you're also human, and humans long to be close, to be known, to be remembered. If you've felt the sting of growing distance from family, the fewer calls, the shorter visits, the long stretches of silence, I want you to know something. You are not alone. And more importantly, you are not forgotten. Love doesn't always look the way we imagined it. It doesn't always come wrapped in words or visits or perfectly timed affection. Sometimes it's clumsy. Sometimes it's distracted. Sometimes it's late. But even when the people you love are far, even when they don't say it the way you need to hear it, love still exists. It still flows from you, and it still lives in you. And here's the beautiful, complicated truth. You don't need to wait for others to make you feel connected again. You have the power to reach out, to build new bonds, to tend the relationship you have with yourself, to forgive what wasn't said, to cherish what still can be. The quiet season of life can be filled with sorrow, or it can be filled with softness, with grace, with gentle mornings, thoughtful routines, new friendships, rediscovered hobbies, handwritten letters, and the kind of peace that comes not from the world being perfect, but from choosing to be at peace anyway. You are not someone who has been left behind. You are someone who is still becoming, still feeling, still offering something beautiful to this world. You are not less because they don't call as often. You are not invisible because they moved on. Your worth is not measured by the frequency of their attention. It's measured by the life you live right here, right now, with courage, compassion, and a heart still open to love. So hold your head high. Breathe deeply. Sit by the window or go for a walk or light a candle at the end of the day. Let it all be sacred, because it is. This season may be quieter, but it's not empty, and neither are you. You are still here, and you are still deeply, wonderfully, profoundly loved.